I'm Jessie, and today we are going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. Finally. I actually pulled my answers, like my questions that I'm using from Angela at Literature Science Alliance. I think that whatever version of it she uses is slightly different from some of the others I've seen, and I really liked these questions. So I figured I would just pull the ones from her video and do it that way. All right, so the first question is the best book that you've read so far. Hands down, Babel by R.F. Kuang. I absolutely loved Babel. I know it's not out yet, but it comes out very, very soon, and I highly recommend everybody pick it up. It is a standalone historical dark academia with a little bit of fantasy. This is definitely not high fantasy, lots of magic. It is definitely more historical, so don't go into it expecting like the Poppy War level of magic. Go into it expecting like historical fiction with a little bit of magic set in a dark academia Oxford setting. Like, it's hard to explain, but it is so good, and I'm actually planning on doing a full review of it, so be on the lookout for that. The next one is the best sequel that you've read this year, and for me, that is going to be Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. This is the sequel to Shadow of the Gods, and I know this has gotten like some mixed reviews based on it being like feeling like a second book, but I loved it. I loved the character growth. I loved getting to see more of my favorite characters and where they went after those insane endings of the first book. And now that this one's out, I'm like, I need book 3 because the ending of this was just as much as a WTF moment as the ending of the first one. The next question is a new release that you haven't read yet but want to. And honestly, I have quite a few, especially since I get like book boxes. I have quite a few, but the one that kind of like sprung to mind right away that I really want to get to is The Stardust Thief. And I've heard everybody talk so highly about this book, and I really want to get to it. Like, there's so many that I've gotten that like I really want to get to. The Girl That Fell Beneath the Sea is another one. There's a bunch, right? Like, I have a bunch, especially just because of like book boxes. Like, I want to read Book of Night by Holly Black. I don't know if I'm like super excited about that, but like I just want to see what it was. There's another one, I think it's When Women Were Dragons, that I really want to get to, but I think this one is like top of my list. All right, the next question is your biggest disappointment so far, and honestly there's a few because I've DNF'd a lot, so we're just gonna talk about one that was like a big disappointment that I actually finished, and that's the Atlas 6. I did not like this. Like, it was so disappointing. Like, it's supposed to be an adult dark academia fantasy, and all of these like 30-something-year-old adults felt like teenagers. Like, they felt like children, and there was so much about this book that I just didn't enjoy. So it's gotta be this one. The next one is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and of course Babel, because I've already read it and I love it and I'm excited to get a physical copy. Then there is Fury Song, which is the final book in the Aurelian cycle by Rosario Munda. And I have the arc of it and I'm super excited because I loved Fireborn and Flamefall, and I cannot wait to finish up that series. And then of course the one that we all know is The Lost Metal by Brandon Sanderson, because I want to finish Mistborn Era 2 because I really like Era 2. Like, I know not a lot of people love Era 2 the way they love Era 1. I do. I love Wax and Wayne so much, and I cannot wait to see how he ends this one. The next one is your biggest surprise, and for me that was Geekerella. Like, I don't read romance, and I absolutely loved this. It was just a cute, fluffy, like contemporary romance set around a Comic-Con. Doesn't sound like something I would love at all. It was adorable. and I loved it. So it was a surprise to even me. The next one is favorite new author. This could either be a debut or new to you. I picked a new to me author, and that is Shauna Maguire. I read Middle Game for the first time this year, and this is kind of tied with Babel for like favorite book of the year. It is up there. And then I ended up reading the like novellas, the Wayward Children, not the Wayward Children. Those are the ones I want to read. The like Along the Saltway Sea, the children's books that are based on the books from this series, and I loved those too. So I definitely will be picking up like everything and anything that Shauna Maguire writes now. Like I really need to get to the Wayward series. I need to read the second book in this series, which is like a companion. It's not a direct sequel, and I really fell in love with her writing. And I know that Shauna Maguire has like a big backlist, so I'm excited. Okay, the next one is newest fictional crush. And it took me a while to figure this one out. Because like, I don't really do the whole like fictional crushes thing. Like, I'm just like, okay, like it's a cool character. But, I don't know. So I picked just like one of my favorite characters from the year, which is funny because that's another question. But we did not go with a book character, because my husband and I have been watching a ton of anime lately, and we just finished Black Clover, and I am sad because I don't have any more Black Clover to watch, and it's been on hiatus forever, and it needs to come back. So we're gonna go with Asta for this one. Because I loved his character. I loved his attitude and his never give up, and it was just so much fun, and I really enjoyed the anime. I really want to get the manga and read those now, because it's one thing that I've been doing is after my husband and I finished an anime, I've been reading the manga and starting to pick those up. So I definitely want to get to this one, and I guess we can say that Asta is my fictional crush, but really he's just a really cool character that I absolutely love. The next one is your newest favorite character, and so for this one I decided to go with a book character, since I kind of used the last question as another just like favorite character question, and this is going to be Aram from Dragon Mage. I literally just finished this book and I absolutely loved him. He is our main character, but he is on the autism spectrum, and I think that makes him, for one, a very unique fantasy main character. I think it was like handled with care and done really well, and I just love him in that series. Like Dragon Mage was a really, really great self-published book. It's really, really long, but it's really, really good, and he is just such a cinnamon roll character, but he is also such a badass and doesn't even know it. And I love that. The next one is a book that made you cry. And that is also going to be Babel by R.F. Kuang. Man, this woman, she knows how to rip those emotions out of you. And she knows how to crush your soul. And this book is no different. Like, she is going to rip all of the emotions out of you and wring you dry in this book. And then you're going to ask her to do it again, please. Because it is so good. But this is one of the few that's made me cry this year, which is crazy because like normally I'm a big old crier, and I guess I just haven't been reading a lot of like hard-hitting emotional books, but man, Babel got me. The next one is a book that made you happy, and that is River of Silver by S.A. Chakravorty. I read this. This is a collection of novellas that is set in the world of the David Bad series, and it just made me happy being back in that world because I loved it so much. And then especially the very last like short story in this collection, I believe it was the last one, where it's Nari and Ali and what happens kind of after the events of the series. It just made me happy and I loved it so much. Okay, the next one is your favorite book to film adaptation you saw this year. And I'm gonna kind of cheat on this one as well because I haven't been watching a lot of anything other than anime. So my favorite manga to anime adaptation is how we're answering that question, and that is going to be My Hero Academia. I absolutely freaking love it and I need it to come back. Like this could have also been a Demon Slayer, because I have the manga and I've been reading that and I really, really love the anime too. But I think My Hero Academia inches it out just a little more. And it might just be because there's more episodes currently. Like there was like 150 episodes or something of My Hero. 100 and something. And we watched all of them. And I need it to come back. It is such a cute anime and a really good manga as well. And I need to kind of like add it to my physical collection, but I love it. It's these like superhero kids, which you know I love superhero kids, but basically every person in the world has a quirk, kind of like, you know, superhero power. And our main character, Deku, does not. He is quirkless. And things happen. He ends up inheriting a quirk and then going to this like prestigious hero academy, and there's shenanigans there. And I just loved it. I loved it, and I thought it was really well adapted. So I'm excited to see more, and hopefully it comes out, I think, at the end of this year, maybe. The next one is fun, and it is the favorite video that you have done this year. And I think personally, my favorite video is not one video, it's like a series I've been doing, and it's my exploding TBRs. And that's because I'm kind of forcing myself to read my physical TBR, and then if I don't love the books, unhaul the books. So it's making me get through my physical TBR, it gets more room on my shelf, and prioritize books that I probably have forgotten about. Because most of these I'm pulling from like the very bottom shelves, and I forgot that I had them, and they're older and they've been there forever, and I'm like making myself read them and either keep them or get rid of them. So like that's my favorite like series I've done. All right, the next one is the most beautiful book you've gotten this year. And I've gotten so many really pretty books from book boxes, but I'm gonna flip the script on this one and say, as far as my favorite beautiful book is going to be Cytonic by Brandon Sanderson. And you might say, Jessie, that's just the regular cover. It's not that fancy. And you would be correct. But what makes this book beautiful to me is that I got the signed, personalized version of it. And I got Brando Sando to draw me a Doom Slug, and I love it. And it's got, you know, my name, and it's got the stamp, and it says, you know, for Jessie. And to me, that makes this book beautiful and priceless and special because I love it. The next one is, what book or books do you need to read before the end of the year? And honestly, there's so many, but I'm such a mood reader that like, I can't really like pick like, I want to read this by the end of the year. But one that I really want to prioritize is The 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. This is the whole big floppy bind up, but that's the first book, is The 100,000 Kingdoms in the Inheritance trilogy. And I love N.K. Jemisin, and I am very excited to read this and like dig into her backlist and just read more of her books. And I know she has a new one coming out in the Great Cities duology, so I want to read this one next. All right, well, that was my mid-year freakout tag. It's a little different. Like I said, I pulled the questions from Angela's video, and I know she pulled them from a different video, so I will link both of those down below, the original where Angela got the questions and Angela's video, because that's where it inspired me. Ooh, did you hear that thunder? That was insane. All right, well guys, thank you for hanging out with me. My name is Jessie, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.